Fashion. It's everywhere. It's what we wear, what we see, what we admire. It's a billion-dollar industry that shapes our tastes, values, and identities. But behind the glamour and the glitz, there is a dark side. A side that most people don't know about or choose to ignore. A side that exposes the ugly truths and the hidden costs of fashion. In this documentary, we will take you on a journey to reveal the dark side of fashion. We will show you how the industry exploits workers, harms the environment, and promotes unhealthy standards of beauty. We will expose the secrets and scandals of the fashion world and the consequences of our obsession with fashion. We will also introduce you to some of the fashion rebels who are challenging the norms and conventions of the industry and creating their own alternative and ethical fashion. Are you ready to see the dark side of fashion? Are you ready to question your own choices and preferences? Are you ready to change your perspective and your behavior? If so, then join us as we uncover the dark side of fashion. The fashion industry is one of the largest and most profitable industries in the world. According to the World Bank, the global fashion market was worth $2.5 trillion in 2020 and is expected to grow to $3.3 trillion by 2025. The industry employs over 60 million people worldwide, mostly in developing countries, where labor is cheap and regulations are lax. But what is the real price of fashion? Who pays the cost of producing the clothes and accessories that we buy and wear? The answer is the workers. The workers who make our fashion are often subjected to harsh and inhumane conditions, such as long hours, low wages, unsafe environments, and physical and verbal abuse. They have little or no rights, protections, or benefits. They have no voice, no choice, and no dignity. One of the most notorious examples of the exploitation of workers in the fashion industry is the RA Plaza Disaster. On April 24, 2013, a garment factory complex in Dhaka, Bangladesh, collapsed, killing more than 100 workers and injuring more than 2,500. The workers were making clothes for some of the world's biggest fashion brands, such as H&M, Zara, Gap, and Walmart. The collapse was caused by poor construction, overcrowding, and lack of safety inspections. The workers had complained about the cracks in the walls and the floors, but were ignored and forced to work. The RA Plaza disaster was not an isolated incident. It was a symptom of a systemic problem. A problem that affects millions of workers in the fashion industry who are trapped in a cycle of poverty, exploitation, and oppression. A problem that is fueled by the greed and indifference of the fashion brands who prioritize profits over people. This a problem that is enabled by the ignorance and apathy of the consumers who demand cheap and fast fashion without considering the human and social costs. Fashion is not only a social and economic phenomenon, it is also an environmental one. Fashion has a huge impact on the natural resources and ecosystems that sustain life on Earth. Fashion consumes water, energy, land, and chemicals. Fashion produces waste, pollution, and greenhouse gases. Fashion contributes to climate change, biodiversity loss, and environmental degradation. How big is fashion's environmental footprint? According to the United Nations, the fashion industry is responsible for 10% of global carbon emissions, more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. The industry also uses 93 billion cubic meters of water per year, enough to meet the needs of 5 million people. The industry also generates 20% of global wastewater, and 85% of textiles end up in landfills or are incinerated. One of the main drivers of fashion's environmental impact is the fast fashion model. Fast fashion is a business model that produces and sells large quantities of cheap and trendy clothes, with short life cycles and low quality. Fast fashion encourages overconsumption, overproduction, and waste. Fast fashion also relies on synthetic and non-biodegradable materials, such as polyester, nylon, and acrylic, which are derived from fossil fuels and release microplastics into the water and the air. Another driver of fashion's environmental impact is the dyeing and finishing processes. These processes involve the use of toxic and hazardous chemicals, such as formaldehyde, chlorine, and heavy metals, which can cause skin irritation, allergies, cancer, and birth defects. These chemicals also contaminate the water, the soil, and the food chain, affecting the health and livelihoods of millions of people, especially in developing countries where regulations and enforcement are weak or non-existent. But there is hope. There is a movement of people who are trying to reduce and reverse the environmental impact of fashion. People who are adopting and promoting sustainable and circular fashion practices, such as using organic, recycled, or biodegradable materials, minimizing water and energy use, eliminating or replacing harmful chemicals, extending the lifespan and value of clothes, and reusing, repairing, or recycling clothes. These are the people who are caring for the planet and its resources. These are the people who are making a difference. These are the people who are changing the world. Fashion is not only a material and practical phenomenon, it is also a psychological and cultural one. Fashion influences and reflects how we see ourselves and others. Fashion shapes our self-esteem, body image, identity, and relationships. Fashion can be a source of joy, creativity, and expression. But it can also be a source of stress, anxiety, and depression. Fashion can promote unhealthy standards of beauty that are unrealistic, unattainable, and oppressive. How does fashion promote unhealthy standards of beauty? According to the World Health Organization, the fashion industry is one of the main factors that contribute to the global epidemic of eating disorders, such as anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating. The industry sets and perpetuates a narrow and idealized image of beauty that is based on thinness, whiteness, youthfulness, and perfection. The industry also uses Photoshop, filters, and other digital manipulations to enhance and distort the appearance of models, celebrities, and influencers. The fashion industry's unrealistic and unattainable standards of beauty hurt the mental and physical health of millions of people, especially women and girls, who are the primary targets and consumers of fashion. Many people develop low self-esteem, body dissatisfaction, and poor self-image, which can lead to eating disorders, depression, anxiety, and suicide. Many people also resort to extreme and harmful measures, such as dieting, fasting, exercising, surgery, or drugs, to try to achieve or maintain the ideal body shape and size. But there is hope. There is a movement of people who are challenging and rejecting the unhealthy standards of beauty imposed by the fashion industry. People who embrace and celebrate their natural and diverse beauty, regardless of their size, shape, color, age, or ability. People who are raising awareness, educating, and empowering others to love and accept themselves and their bodies. People who are creating and supporting inclusive and positive fashion alternatives. Fashion is a powerful and complex phenomenon. It can be a force for good or evil. It can create or destroy. It can inspire or oppress. It can unite or divide. It can enrich or impoverish. It can heal or harm. The choice is yours. You can choose to ignore or confront the dark side of fashion. You can choose to be passive or active consumers of fashion. You can choose to follow or lead the fashion trends. You can choose to be part of the problem or part of the solution. Opened your eyes and your mind to the dark side of fashion. We hope it has made you think and feel differently about fashion. We hope it has motivated you to take action and make a change. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Please take care of yourself. Bye.